All right, we'll start with the top story. Oman Sultan Haitham bin Tariq is in New Delhi on a three-day visit to India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets Sultan Haitham bin Tariq of Oman at Hyderabad House in Delhi. Both the leaders will hold bilateral talks. Earlier, Oman Sultan Haitham bin Tariq received a ceremonial welcome by Indian President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. This is the first visit to India by an Oman Sultan in nearly 25 years. Will also visit the National Gallery of Modern Art. India celebrates Vijay Diwas today, commemorating the victory of the Indian Armed Forces in Operation Vijay against Pakistan in 1971 war. Paying tribute to the brave hearts, Indian President Draupadi Murmu posted on social media, and I quote her. The nation remembers with gratitude the selfless sacrifice made by our armed forces during the 1971 war. On Vijay Diwas, I pay homage to the brave hearts who displayed unparalleled courage and achieved historic victory, unquote. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi too paid homage to the brave hearts. In a social media post, he said, and I quote him, "Today on Vijay Diwas, we pay heartfelt tributes to all the brave heroes who dutifully served India in 1971, ensuring a decisive victory. Their valor and dedication remain a source of immense pride for the nation. Their sacrifices and unwavering spirit will forever be etched in the people's hearts and our nation's history. India salutes their courage and remembers their indomitable spirit." And India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, along with CDS General Anil Chauhan, Army Chief General Manoj Pandey, Navy Chief Admiral R. Hari Kumar and IAF Vice Chief Air Marshal Amarpreet Singh laid wreath at the National War Memorial on the occasion of Vijay Diwas. Meanwhile, Bangladesh is celebrating its 53rd Victory Day, known as Vijay Diwas, to mark the liberation from Pakistan in 1971 on Saturday. On this day, in 1971, the Pakistani armed forces led by General A.A.K. Niazi surrendered before the Indian Army and the Mukti Bahini Liberation Force of Bangladesh with over 90,000 of its troops, which ended the 9-month-long struggle of the people of Bangladesh. Bangladesh President Mohammad Shahabuddin and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on Saturday paid tributes to the martyrs of the 1971 Liberation War by placing wreaths at the National Memorial in Sawa on the outskirts of Dhaka, marking the 53rd Victory Day. And India has called on the United Nations to exercise zero tolerance against terror groups and their sponsors. In an open debate on small arms today, India's permanent representative to the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, noted that India attaches high importance to preventing and eradicating the illicit trade in small arms and light weapons. Listen in.
The illicit traffic of small arms and light weapons and related ammunition is a key enabler for sustaining conflicts by armed and terrorist groups. This necessitates the need for coordinated efforts by states to limit the acquisition of small arms and light weapons by such actors. It is therefore important that this Council exercises a zero tolerance to terror actors and their sponsors, their possession and misuse of small arms and light weapons.
Moving on, a series of explosions resounded throughout the Ukraine capital Kyiv early on Saturday as air defense units engaged Russian drones. Explosions were reported on both banks of the Dnipro River that runs through the city. There were no immediate reports of casualties or serious damage. A new series of explosions hit areas near Kyiv's central districts. Witnesses said air raid sirens went off on the eastern bank of the Dnipro River, but on the western bank, police warned residents of the air raid through loudspeakers. The European Union has failed to agree on a more than $50 billion package of assistance for Ukraine at a two-day meeting in Brussels. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has so far refused to lift his veto, but leaders are confident a deal is within reach. DD India's Alex Caddy reports from Brussels.
Ukraine will have to wait at least a few more weeks to receive more than $50 billion worth of European support. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban refused to lift his country's veto on the new aid package as part of a broader negotiations over the EU's budget. But leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, are confident that a deal is within reach, meaning they'll get back around the table here in January or early February to try and finalize an agreement. While Ukraine waits for that outcome, it also celebrates the decision by EU leaders to open its membership negotiations, a long process Kyiv has been eager to start. The negotiations are a 38-stage journey of reform and alignment with the European Union, one that could take a decade. Nevertheless, the European Commission's president says the move sends a clear message.
In a world that is shaken by multiple crises, it's an investment in stability. It's an investment in security of our continent, but of course it's also an investment in prosperity for our continent, and it's a big investment in democracies.
The EU's 27 heads of state also discussed the conflict in the Middle East, with a majority of member states wanting the bloc to call for a ceasefire. They discussed that and potential sanctions against Hamas and Israeli settlers in the West Bank, but stopped short of making any decisions or formal announcements. It's been a long and at times tense meeting of the EU's 27 leaders. They leave Brussels with more work to do on aid for Kyiv and their position on the war in Gaza, but also in the knowledge that Ukraine is one step closer to European Union membership. Alex Caddy in Brussels reporting for DD India.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that the upcoming presidential elections in the country must be competitive and must be held in full compliance with Russian laws, noting any foreign interference in the election will be suppressed harshly. The president made these remarks at the meeting with heads of parliamentary parties on Friday.
Everything must happen on a competitive basis and in full compliance with the laws of Russian Federation. Any interference in the internal affairs of Russia will be suppressed harshly in accordance with the laws of Russia. We will defend the freedom of our people, their sovereignty and the right to choose their future. It is the people and only the people of Russia who are the only source of power in our country. During the upcoming election campaign, all political parties and factions will one way or other determine their position.
All right, now let's take a look at some more stories making news around the world. 3 Pakistani police officers were killed in a gun battle with militants near the northwestern Afghan border, in an uptick in violence, raising security concerns ahead of national elections early next year. The attack came within 2 days of another such militant attack in the region, which killed 23 Pakistani soldiers in Dera Ismail Khan district. Over 2 tons of cocaine disguised as nuggets of charcoal were seized by police in Colombia. The authorities said the traffickers hid the drugs in nuggets of charcoal that were intended for Europe. The estimated market value of the drugs is over 10 million euros. Bolivia opened its first lithium plant on Friday. President Luis said this is a historic step to becoming one of the world's top producers of the precious metal. The lithium carbonate industrial plant will produce 15,000 tons in 2024 and 1 lakh in 2025. Bolivia is the global leader in lithium resources with an estimated reserves of 23 million metric tons. And a unique gingerbread exhibition is on display in New York City, featuring contributions from over 50 architecture, landscape and design offices, each offering their interpretation of sustainability in edible creations. The theme for the exhibition is climate change, in particular sea level rise and storm surges. Friends actor Matthew Perry died from the acute effects of ketamine, a sedative sometimes used to treat depression. According to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office, drowning and heart disease were found to be contributing factors. Perry, best known for his role as Chandler Bing of hit television sitcom Friends, was found dead in jacuzzi of his Los Angeles home on 28 October. The actor's death happened a year after publication of his memoir, Friends, Lovers and the Big Terrible Thing, in which he chronicled his decade-long bouts with addiction to prescription, painkillers and alcohol.
Buprenorphine and the ketamine were likely used in appropriate settings. What was inappropriate in this case was, or potentially inappropriate in this case, is the additional doses of ketamine or the use of ketamine outside of what may have been prescribed or doses that may have been prescribed.
All right, and now for a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. ASEAN leaders are gathering in Tokyo for a 3-day summit commemorating 50 years of friendship and cooperation between the group and Japan. BCCI makes multiple changes to India's ODI and Test squads versus South Africa. Shami ruled out of Test series. Deepak Chahar withdraws from ODIs.
Were these people so disturbed and overcome by circumstances as is being claimed? Did they become useful tools or convenient tools in the hands of people?
Yes, you say that there is a political messaging, but a political messaging or any kind of social messaging can very well be done only through pamphlets.
That's a dichotomous situation where you have a high-profile institution which also is high profile in the sense that normal citizens want access to it on a daily basis.
That's very important that every part of that security layer, they should be trained, they should be briefed properly, and they should know what is their exact duties there.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Updates now on the Israel-Hamas conflict. Israel has approved the entry of aid into the Gaza Strip through the Kerem Shalom crossing. In a statement, Israeli Prime Minister's office said the opening would allow Israel to maintain its commitments to permit the entry of 200 trucks of aid per day. It was agreed upon in a hostage deal brokered and implemented last month. The World Health Organization has welcomed the opening of the Kerem Shalom crossing into Gaza. And the Israeli army has struck Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in response to recent rocket launches. In a written statement, the Israeli military said the airstrikes targeted a command and control center as well as military sites Hezbollah were operating in. And Danish shipping company AP Moller Maersk will pause all container shipments through the Red Sea until further notice. A spokesperson for the company on Friday said the company has instructed all Maersk vessels in the area bound to pass through the Bab al-Mandab Strait to pause their journey until further notice following the attack on a container vessel. Maersk denied a claim by Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthi movement that the militia had struck a Maersk vessel. Maersk said the company was deeply concerned about the highly escalated security situation in the southern Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. And the leaders from ASEAN member countries are gathering in Tokyo for a 3-day summit commemorating 50 years of friendship and cooperation between the group and Japan. The meeting is expected to focus on regional security and result in a plan to implement a new vision for the future of diplomacy in Asia Pacific. DD India's Chris Gilbert reports from Tokyo.
Well, experts say this is an incredibly important meeting for Japan, as it, even though it's not an ASEAN member, is looking to potentially expand its own influence as a leader of Asia-Pacific countries and its position as a potential go-between, a mediator, maybe even mitigator of ties between the increasingly competing spheres of the United States and China in the Indo-Pacific. Looking at the summit itself, Saturday will be a flurry of bilateral meetings. It's a flurry of bilateral meetings between ASEAN leaders and, of course, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and Joko Widodo, the Indonesian leader who is co-hosting this event. Sunday is going to be the main group sessions, and then on Monday, the ASEC talks, that's the Asia Zero Emissions Community, so energy talks, concluding in a joint statement with, interestingly, an implementation plan that is set to focus on a new vision for the future for the Asia Pacific, focusing on peace and stability, people-to-people exchanges and new communities and economies. Now, the elephant in the room is, of course, security, and analysts are speculating that this summit may focus on security more than others have in the past, particularly considering that both the US and Chinese leaders have visited Japan in recent days and months, trying to exert their influence and grow their ties with that country. Also, the context is China's increasing and ever-expanding military and maritime presence in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait. This is directly affecting countries such as Malaysia, Brunei, Vietnam, and the Philippines, which has had several physical encounters with the Chinese Coast Guard just in the last month or so. And so experts are really looking at Japan. ASEAN polling shows that stakeholders in ASEAN nations, the diplomatic community and the business community, do not view Japan necessarily as a powerful economy or security figure in the area. They view China and the US much more as those types of figures, but they do view it potentially as a go-between. With its security ties with the US, with its business ties with China, they are looking to Japan to potentially put a step forward and figure out a path for this new vision for the future that is meant to be coming in this joint declaration on Monday. Chris Gilbert in Tokyo, reporting for DD India.
Indian Navy's warship and maritime patrol aircraft responded swiftly to a hijacking incident in the Arabian Sea. A Malta-flagged vessel with 18 crew members on board had sent a Mayday message on 14 December indicating boarding by nearly 6 unknown personnel. The Navy diverted its maritime patrol aircraft undertaking surveillance in the area and its warship on anti-piracy patrol in the Gulf Aden to locate and assist the vessel. The aircraft have been continuously monitoring movement of the vessel, which is now heading towards the coast of Somalia. The Indian government's outreach campaign Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra program was organized in Indian state of Uttar Pradesh's Jaunpur city. The Sports and Youth Welfare Minister of Uttar Pradesh government said that the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, PM Swanidhi Yojana, Ayushman card schemes have benefited every person in the country. People have been experiencing positive impacts of the public welfare schemes of the Indian government. During the program, certificates of housing and loan approval were distributed to the beneficiaries of various housing and monetary schemes of the central and state governments. Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with beneficiaries of the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra today. Prime Minister will also address the gathering on the occasion. Thousands of beneficiaries from across the country will join the event. During the program, the Prime Minister will flag off the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra in 5 Indian states. Now, Indian Minister of Commerce and Industry Consumer Affairs Piyush Goyal launched the Logistics Ease Across Different States Report 2023. The Indian Minister highlighted that the economic growth and logistics sector of the country will contribute to make India a developed nation by 2047. Now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Students from various schools and colleges came together to form a human chain spanning 15 kilometers in the Indian state of Gujarat. The students, adorned with a tricolor band, made a picturesque scene along the route. The chain was made to send the message of green city, clean city and safe city. In the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir, has yielded over 3,000 quintals of mushroom. The revenue generated by the farmer tops at 60 million rupees. Mushroom products requires relatively smaller space and fewer resources, hence growing the produce at a smaller space sounded like a reasonable proposition. Mushroom cultivation is a good business opportunity for young people. Security measures have been heightened in Ayodhya of Indian state of Uttar Pradesh ahead of the Pran Pratishtha ceremony of Ram Mandir on 22nd January 2024. The authorities have installed CCTV cameras across the city. The temple trust has invited over 4,000 saints of all sects for the ceremony. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also attend the inauguration of Ram Temple. Buddhist spiritual leader Dalai Lama offers prayers at a Buddhist temple in Bodh Gaya, Bihar of India. The 14th Dalai Lama is on a visit to Bihar to inaugurate three-day International Sangh Forum 2023 on bridging traditions, embracing modernity, a dialogue on the Buddha's teaching in today's world on 20th December. His engagements include a prayer session, teachings and an inauguration program. Well, sports now. We'll start with cricket. India women's team have annihilated England to set a new record for the biggest win by run margin in the history of women's test. India made 428 runs after opting to bat. Deepti Sharma then took a 5-wicket haul in quick time to skittle England out for a mere 136 in 35.3 overs. India didn't enforce the follow-on and declared their second day at 186 for the loss of 6 wickets, setting a 478-run target for England to win. Indian pacers led the early blows with Pooja Vastrakar taking 3 wickets before Deepti Sharma added 4 more wickets to her kitty as England were bowled out for 131. And there have been multiple changes in India's squad against South Africa for Tests and ODIs. Fast bowler Deepak Chahar has withdrawn from ODIs due to family medical emergency, while Mohammad Shami has been ruled out from Tests due to injury. The BCCI said that Akashdeep has replaced Chahar in the one-day international squad. The ODI series begins on Sunday. Pacer Mohammad Shami failed to regain fitness on time and has been ruled out from the 2-match Test series against South Africa starting 26 December. After the conclusion of the first ODI, batter Shreyas Iyer will join the Test squad to prepare for the Test series. Now, Swarup Unhal's success at Khelo India Para Games symbolizes resilience and determination. Despite being born with severe polio, Swarup refused to let adversity define his life. In addition to praising the Khelo India initiative, Swarup also acknowledged the consistent support of Prime Minister Narendra Modi for athletes across the nation. An exclusive report by Narayan Singh.
Swarup Unhalkar, a native of Kolhapur, Maharashtra, is rewriting the narrative of courage at the Khelo India Para Games. Born with severe polio affecting both legs, Swarup's passion for sports became evident from a young age. Enduring multiple surgeries due to his condition, Swarup emerged as a true fighter. His journey reached new heights at the Khelo India Para Games, where his determination took center stage. He won the gold medal in 10-meter air rifle SH1 event. The Khelo India Para Games received accolades from Swarup for its steadfast support.
गवर्नमेंट ने फर्स्ट बार जो पहली बार खेलो इंडिया पैरा गेम्स चालू किए, तो इसके लिए मैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का बहुत बहुत तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार हूँ। और इस पैरा खेलो इंडिया का काफ़ी फ़ायदा एथलीट्स को होगा और आगे जाके बहुत खिलाड़ी यहाँ से अच्छा करके इंटरनेशनल को मेडल जीतेंगे।
Grateful for the opportunity, Swarup also commended Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi for consistent support to athletes nationwide.
चाहे जीत हो या हार हो, हमारे जो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री है नरेंद्र मोदी जी, तो खिलाड़ी के पीछे काफ़ी अच्छे तरीके से रहते हैं, उनको मोटिवेट करते हैं और अपने अपने गेम में आगे जाने के लिए हरदम साथ देते हैं।
Swarup Unhalkar's story serves as an inspiration for budding athletes. The inclusion of Para Games in Khelo India series paves the way for a more inclusive and empowering future for athletes across the nation.
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.